Good people, hello and welcome to the Better Call Darrell podcast. High atop radiotherapy. Here we are. Look. We're having fun already. Man, I've been waiting one whole month and some change to do this program. We're going to talk about a whole variety of different topics as it relates to return to duty for the Department of Transportation. Again, my name is Darrell Hartley. I am a Department of Transportation substance abuse professional. When people fail drug and alcohol screens, I get them back to duty. Why? Because I'm Better Call Darrell. That's what I can do. So we're going to talk about some things, again, that are related to the return to duty process specifically. But I want to tell you some things about me. But before that, I want to tell you how thankful I am to be able to have this product before you that I can share with you. It's not often that a person who's experienced as I am as an addictions, alcohol, drug, chemical dependency, and substance abuse professional is able to share this information with you in real time. So real time means every single day I go to the Department of Transportation and FMCSA and other entities, their websites, and see all the real-time information. Real-time information can be the last minute, the last hour, the last day, the last week, but you'll have it to ensure that the return to duty process is something that's effective, efficient, and excellent for you. I started this journey as an addictions counselor in 2007. And while everybody else was passing gas and digging boogers at night, I was up studying, making sure that I would have the information that you would have in real time. Real-time information is authentic, it's genuine, it's legitimate for everybody to have. If you ask someone a question and they're giving you 2 years ago information, that's not real time. If you ask me a question, I'm going to give you the most up-to-date information. Why? Because when you go to www.bettercalldarrell.com, that is BetterCallDarrell.com, BetterCallDarrell.com. You will understand why we have this in motion. You will understand that your return to duty process is not practical, it's not pragmatic, it is instant and it's real for you. So today is Monday, April Fool's Day, but there's no April Fool's Day show. This is the truth. This is what's real. This is what will make you be in an optimum position to succeed. I started this journey because I saw how addiction was destroying families, friends, other people of note, and it's just a spiraling downward trend, meaning people were circling the drain. They had no way to find out which way was up. Well, when you really care about people, and you really care about yourself, there's an expression, I believe Teddy Roosevelt said it, no one cares about how much you know until you demonstrate how much you care. Here, I want to be in a position to let you know that I do care. I care so much, I want to make you understand that this process is only difficult if you don't want to do it. It's like a math problem. You say, man, math's hard, I hate math. It's only difficult because you don't want to do it. If you sat down and understood what math really was, it's just a series of numbers, but they're actually just letters. You just have to see what X and Y and Z, all those things are, and you'll understand how to actually do it. You'll know what a product is. You'll know what division. You know reducing the lowest terms. You know all those different types of things. And that's the same thing when we apply this to our lives. I'm also a chaplain. And it's not uncommon for men of the cloth or women of the cloth to be counselors or therapists. Counseling and therapy is interchangeable. It depends on what modality that you're using, what treatment method that you're using. But I can tell you this, if you trust the process, it will work for you. So as a chaplain, I'm equipped to do the work. The Lord our God has equipped me to do the work. And in turn, I don't want to displease him by not doing the work. When you come to me, you'll understand why I'm Better Call Darrell. You'll understand why you need to return to duty. You'll understand why returning to duty should mean everything for you, because you're a federal employee. As a Department of Transportation federal employee who drives a truck, who's involved with FMCSA, FAA, Coast Guard, all the different entities that's associated with it, you'll understand that you really need to return to duty. You shouldn't be at home watching television, watching Merry Melodies, watching Looney Tunes, watching Steve Wilkos, watching Maury Povich, watching Steve Springer, Jerry Springer, who incidentally have jobs. You should be out working and earning, because the more money you have, you're able to launch and do other things. Remember, you want to elevate to places that you've never even envisioned before. You want to make sure that the wife is happy. Wives, you want to make sure that the husband is happy. The children need to be happy. You don't need to celebrate Christmas on December 25th. Christmas is going to be every single day in your household, if that's what you choose for it to be. Thanksgiving can be every single day in your house, in your household, if you choose that to be. This is what I'm saying to you. Stop walking around saying what might have been and realize what is. What is that you must return to duty. If you don't return to duty, you will not be able to drive. If you're not able to drive, that means you can't return to duty. You see how that works? Right. So all the myths, all the nonsense, all the fables, all the mythology that comes along with all of this, I'm going to break it down to you. I'm going to break down the return to duty process for you, so to make it very simple, make it very clean, and you can go back and do this. Here's an interesting statistic. For the Department of Transportation, there are at least 1.5 million people out of work for Department of Transportation violations and things of that nature. And in the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, who's connected to the Department of Transportation, there's almost 2 million more. That's hazmat, that's nuclear reactors, those people in that industry who are out of work as well. Why? Because they've either gotten false information, they don't know where to turn, they feel that all is lost. Negative. It is not true. What's true is that we put ourselves in position to assist each other, to come together, to bring people up. Because so many people have that crab in the bucket mentality. They want to keep everybody else down who's trying to get out. I want you to get out of the bucket. I want you to be in a position where you understand that you can do better. I want you to understand by doing better, you'll get greater things that happen in your life. But it's all up to you. I, as a substance abuse professional for the Department of Transportation, I can't want it more than you. I can't feel it more than you. I can't do anything that you don't want to be able to do. If you don't want to return to duty, guess whose fault that is? Guess who that's on? Guess who's having to deal with that? I don't have to. You do. So, here's the return to duty process. The first thing you have to do is find a substance abuse professional for the Department of Transportation. Hey, here I am, right here, right? So once you find out who that person is, then you make a phone call or you do a query via their website. But before we do that, I want to tell you this too. I'm still so happy about today, right? Because this is like a lifelong dream of mine. I always wanted to be on the radio in some fashion. So in 2000, let's say, I was at this radio school in California, and I had an opportunity, and went through the financial aid process. When I was ready to go, and so guess what? Week 1, week 2, and in every single instance of these weeks that you complete on a Friday, you would have people from the industry that come in, and they would evaluate you. And you know what people said? You're a natural. And so when I was a child, I used to win on the radio all the time. And then I had a radio station hooked up in my room, in my mind anyway. So I was KDCH 98.6, St. Louis and the world. And I was D. Cortez in the nighttime. So at 11, 12, 13 years of age, man, I'm in there rocking out. I got, before there were crates were possible, milk crates, I had albums in it. I had 45s. If y'all older, if you're 57 like I am, you know what a 45 is, right? With the disc in the middle of it. I had a reel-to-reel. I had an 8-track tape. I had a knockoff Marantz. I had speakers. I had like the surround sound. I had all that stuff, right? And so one day, and I had Koss headphones. This was before Sony. It was before all the other good Beats, all of that. So I had Koss. So I'm in my room and I'm doing my thing. Because, of course, chores had to be done. Homework needed to be done, all of that. So here was my time. after dinner. So you know you're in your room and you got your back towards your door, right? And incidentally, let me give you a quick tour of the room. So I had, the glow-in-the-dark posters, with the king and the queen and the panther or the tiger. And then I had Frida Payne, I had Pam Grier, I had Charlie's Angels, I had Cleopatra Jones, I had the girl from the Ohio Players Honey poster. Also had the Skin Tight, had her too, right? And then when you came through my door, you had to open the door, but you had the long things you had to walk through, whatever those are called. I can't remember them now. I'm 57. You will be 57 one day too. So I had a Papa San chair too, and I had a twin-size bed, all hooked up, right? And a chair here, chair there. I fashioned that like KATZ radio in St. Louis, right? And I even had in Photoshop, that's what it was called at the time, you could go and make out, and I had that on my wall. I had one coming in, had one on the wall by my bed, one over by the stereo system. So one night I'm rocking out, I'm playing the Spinners, It's a Shame. And I got a microphone hooked up. And it's wired through the speakers. So you could hear me outside. And my parents were behind me. They came in, they were watching me. And I turned around because I felt someone looking at me. They said, "Boy, you sound like you on the radio." And said, "Play this for us." I played some Al Green. And I was taking requests right behind me, right? So after they left, I felt, hey, man, I could do this. So the next time, like in the next week, I won something on the radio again. KATZ Radio, St. Louis, 1600 on your dial. Went down, pick up my little slip to take to Peaches Records or the tape and record room. And so coming down the hallway as I was at the window, remember I'm a child, I'm 11 or 12 at the time. So lady says, "Darrell, you're always winning here." And as she said that, J.J. Jackson comes down the hallway. Now, J.J. Jackson was a popular disc jockey on KATZ. His competition was Otis Boogeyman Thomas, who was over KKSS, 107.5, St. Louis. So he comes down, and I never forget this. He got on jeans, he got on a white T-shirt, and he got some red, white, and blue suspenders on, right? And remember, I'm a child, but I remember. So he says, "You're Darrell Hartley, aren't you?" It must be an echo in here. I said, "Yes, I am." He says, "Man, you always winning." He said the same thing she said. And he said, "Hey, won't you give him 4 or 5 or more of those slips so we can get him some more albums?" So I got the Silvers, the Jackson 5 ladies, I had the Hughes Corporation, I had Al Green's and Barry White's. I had 5 more plus, I think it was Gloria Gaynor or somebody I won. Took those down, cashed them out. But I asked him, I said, "JJ, I want to be a DJ just like you. How do I do this?" He says, "You ready to go to journalism school for 4 years? Are you ready to go to communication school for 4 more years?" And my countenance fell, and my eyes fell, and the smile went off my face. So like all the blood was drained out of me. And remember, I'm 11 or 12. There was no college talked about in our household. It was just, how do we get to the next day? So after he told me that, I went to the tape and record room, got my albums, and I went back home, and I didn't think about it anymore until the year 2000. And I got accepted. And when I got accepted to the radio school, now the radio school I thought was going to be like JJ said, 4 years and then 4 more. No, it was 12 months. So I got up. I'm sorry, it was 16 weeks. I got up to week 12. And I was called into the financial aid office. And they told me that I was not eligible to complete the program because I had something from 1988 that was there because I hadn't gotten a deferment. And I yelled and screamed and I pleaded with these people and we tried to get them on the line and we did all these sorts of, it said, until you get this rectified, we're going to have to suspend you from school. And I tried, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, I tried. But here's the good thing about me trying. And here's the good thing about me sitting here today. If I had succeeded, I wouldn't probably be sitting in front of you today. So I wouldn't be able to service the thousands of people that I service as a substance abuse professional for the Department of Transportation. I wouldn't be a private practice addictions, alcohol, drug, chemical dependency counselor. I wouldn't be a private practice chaplain. I wouldn't be a board certified chaplain. I wouldn't be the person I'm supposed to be today. I'm not boasting, everybody. I'm letting you know that although this door, this gate, this window, this fence was closed, others opened. And so here we are today. Now, enough of that. We'll get to those other stories another time. The return to duty process is this. You who have violated a Department of Transportation drug screen or alcohol screen. Incidentally, alcohol is a drug. Just don't let anybody tell you differently. Alcohol is a drug. So when they say drug and alcohol, it depends on what they're testing for, right? So if you fail an alcohol or drug screen, you have to see a substance abuse professional, whether it be non-DOT or DOT. You have to see them. Why does it say non-DOT or DOT? Some entities, some corporations, some companies, they only deal with either non-DOT or DOT. Sometimes there are companies who deal with both. It depends on the level of employment they have with their employees. So you see a substance abuse professional. When you see the substance abuse professional is going to do something called a screening and an intake. And he's going to take all of your information that's required to populate an initial evaluation return to duty report. When you have an initial evaluation return to duty report, what happens then is that within a week to 10 days, depends upon who you're speaking with and what their assignment is and what's going on in their life at the time. It could take 7 to 10 days to populate a Department of Transportation return to duty follow-up report. Once you have that, now if you're FMCSA, Federal Motor Carriers Administration, you have to do something called the clearinghouse. When you're in the clearinghouse, that means that you have to register with your email address and your password. When you register with your email address and your password, then you go in and it's going to tell you that you have a violation. It's going to tell you exactly what the violation is. And when you scroll down on the clearinghouse page, it's going to tell you have to assign a substance abuse professional or SAP. When you do that, then you have the person's name already in the log. You just click on who that person is because they've already indicated who they are to you, and then you designate them as your substance abuse professional. Then there's something called prompt payment, right? Because for me, I do not forward any information in person or via email or whatever the process may be. Some people are infirmed, right? So I'll just take the added aspect of taking it to them personally because I would hope somebody would do the same for me. But the return to duty process is face-to-face. And the reason it's face-to-face is because you need to know if the person's under the influence of alcohol and drugs or both. You need to know if they're contrite. And you need to know, very, very importantly, you need to know if they are going to be in a position to not ever do this again, right? So maybe I'm contrite because I got caught, right? I had a class yesterday on Zoom, and I had some people, right? And the reason why I was on Zoom instead of face-to-face is because we still have the DOT protocol with COVID and such. So once that ends, I still do face-to-face. We use these things called masks and stuff. See the mask? See the mask right here? So they're sitting before you, and you need to know via their expressions, via their eyes, if it's on their breath, if it's on their clothes, and whatever it is, if they're under the influence, if they're contrite. I can tell you I'm sorry. That doesn't mean I mean it, right? Doesn't mean I won't go back out and use. So it was 6 young ladies in the class. This is what they said as we went around the room. One of them spoke for all of them, I suppose. She said, "Ain't no we couldn't get high." So someone took exception to what she said, and they said to her, "Oh, you just wanted to be a dolphin." And everybody, it was funny. It just was, right? I didn't have to say it. So she started getting upset because the person got at her, then 10 more, and then right. But they were right because you're messing this process up for everybody else. You're not here to be a comedian. You're here to make sure you get your life in order, that you can get yourself back into the reg or back at FAA or back whatever entity you came in, so we can get this thing resolved for you. Okay? Once you have been signed off in the clearinghouse, that's FMCSA, Federal Motor Carriers Administration. Okay? Once you get signed up, there are 6 steps in the clearinghouse. There's steps 1 through 3 for the substance abuse professional, and then there's steps 4 or steps 4 and 5 or steps 4, 5, and 6 for the employer. The SAP cannot do what the employer does. SAP can do, if the employer is unfamiliar with what is in the clearinghouse, the SAP can assist in walking the employer. Weekend intensive, the weekend. Sunday 8 hours. Where you are. That's why I attempt to meet people where they are. I know that some people have financial difficulties, but I'm gonna tell you this, because it's the truth. You didn't say that to the dope man. You just didn't, right? You didn't ask the dope man how much it cost. You just didn't. You went and did what you did, and now we're in this position. Dope man doesn't care. You know why the dope man doesn't care? Because he's a dope man or the dope woman. They don't care. Your friends that you partied with that night or that day or that weekend, guess who's got to pay for this? They're not paying for this because, man, you stupid, right? You know how it goes. So able to accept and embrace who people are, because I want you to be able to accept and embrace who I am. That's what's called meeting each other where we are. Okay? You need something from I'm talking to you. You need something from me. You need to be in a position where you know that somebody's going to advocate for you, they're going to care for you, they're going to give you the compassion and the dignity and honor and love that you deserve. You've been beat down in the whole process about tomorrow. You stupid, you're a fool. We know we made an error. Who hasn't made an error, right? We all do. But how do you come out of that on the other side, right? You've seen your favorite football team. They're down 28-0 at halftime. Looks hopeless, right? It's never hopeless if you keep trying, if you keep playing, if you keep putting yourself, your best foot forward. And that's what I'm asking you to do as people. Put your best foot forward. What happened, it happened. The scriptures teach us that the plowman is not worthy of the plowshare if they're looking behind them. Have you ever seen those photos with the horse with the blinders on, that they can't look to the left or to the right? It's a reason for that, because they have to keep their eyes on the prize. They're either tilling the land, they're doing something else, with the blinders are there specifically for they can stay on task. I'm asking each of you today to stay on task. If you failed an alcohol and drug screen for the Department of Transportation, you can get it rectified. You just have to want to take the steps to do it. You can't go party one last time, let me go blaze up, let me go get bent, baked, and burnt. No, that's not how it works, right? Because you keep yourself further away from the goal of returning to duty. For example, marijuana stays in the system 13 to 35 days. Man, that's an eternity to return to duty. You got 13 to 35 days watching Steve Wilkos and Jerry Springer and Maury, who's the father? I mean, and of course, they get paid and you're not. You're going to spend, and then of course I said Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies, right? How do I know about those things? I've been there. I've been on the couch. I've been on the love seat. I've been wondering what might have been, but you don't have to. You don't have to go through any of that. The return to duty process is very, very, very simple. You pick up the phone, and when you pick up the phone, you either can go on your address bar on Safari if you have an iPhone. If you go on your regular, wherever that is, whatever your address bar is, Google, Firefox, whatever, and you put in substance abuse professional for the Department of Transportation. Or you do www.bettercalldarrell.com. My name is Darrell. It's not Darrell, not Darrell. It's Darrell, right? Darrell. And I know some people who've lived in the southern regions and in the Midwest and southern Illinois and southern Missouri. They may say Darrell. It's Darrell. My mother's called me Darrell. I said, Mother, it's Darrell. And of course, she wasn't pleased at my response. But that's my name. I learned in third grade the King's English from Miss Travers. Miss Travers, I sat at her feet. The only lady I knew that summer, winter, spring, or fall, she wore pumps, right? I just don't. But when I sat before her, I'd only learn how to spell and how to read and write. I learned math properties, all those things that would engage me in the future of how to learn further, right? So no matter how far you go in school, you're going to always lean back to what you learned as a younger person, right? All of it wasn't good. All of it wasn't good, but some of it was. And I always tell people, what you don't need, you discard. You throw away. Why? Because it's no use to you today. What's of use to you today is returning to duty. Now, why do you have to return to duty? Well, the sacred scriptures tell us that if we don't work, we don't eat. That's just how it is. And somebody may sustain you for a period of time. They may bring you a hot plate. or hot plates, and you may go over and pick some up. You may go down to the pantry. You may go down to the shelter for shelter. You may go to the Goodwill, the Salvation Army, or the clothing house to get you some. There may even be a benefactor that may dress you out. They give you like 7 suits, 7 pairs of shoes, 7 socks, suspenders, the belts, the whole thing. But you still need to go find a job. It looks nice in the closet, but it'll look nicer on you doing the present to the employer. We have to be able to unpack the past, store it away, and do something better than what we've been doing before. Why? Because you can't make this a racial thing. Well, no, it's you. I have clients of all ethnicities, ladies and gentlemen. All education levels, ladies and gentlemen. All backgrounds, ladies and gentlemen. But it has to be up to the person. As I said at the outset, I can't want this more than you. Nobody can want this more than you. Otherwise, that's called codependency. It's called enabling. We're beyond that. And I know doggone well, at 57, I'm not being codependent and enabling anybody other than myself. I will be codependent and enable myself every single day because I've earned it. I can do that. But I will not do that for anybody else. Why? Because they'll get complacent, meaning lazy. They'll get comfortable where they are, and it won't be any benefit to them. If you don't like what I'm saying, I understand, but I'm telling you the truth. I'm not telling you anything you don't know or you haven't heard. You can never walk away today saying, I didn't know or no one told me, because I'm telling you the truth. Why is this process so important? Because as a federal employee, you can have spring to do a lot of different things. You can elevate to a whole different collection or cluster of positions in the federal system. Did you know that? Did you know that? Now you do, right? It just doesn't mean because you worked at one of these different places. Don't you know that the FBI has vehicles with a DOT designation? The CIA has vehicles with a DOT designation. May not be outside the vehicle, but it's on there, right? If you keep looking at ships and boats and chauffeurs and cabs and all, you'll see it'll say DOT and there's a number, right? So if those people fail drug and alcohol screenings, they have to go through the same process. And it depends on what their company's insurance is, whether it's DOT or non-DOT. Either way, they have to see a substance abuse professional from the Department of Transportation. You know why that's important? Because if you look at me very closely, you'll understand that this process, as simple as it is so difficult for other people. Why is it difficult for other people? Because they don't want to stop doing what they're doing. They still want to go party. You know, the streets aren't your friends, people. They just aren't. If something happens at one of those places you hang out in the streets, what's your alibi? You were at the party, right? Well, I can't go out. Yeah, you can go out. Well, why go out after dark and keep yourself at risk? You're placing yourself at risk when you do that. Wouldn't you rather be at, for example, not boasting, just telling the truth. I got almost 3,000 channels at home, man. So if I want to watch whatever I want to watch, I can just dial it up and it's there. I love on demand. I love documentaries. I love short stories. You put it in the search, it comes up. If I want to read about Al Capone and Untouchables or whatever, see the movie, I can do that, right? Why? Because I choose at 57 not to be the old man in the club. Brothers say, sisters say, family say, alleged friends say, hey, you want to go out? Yeah, you want to go see such? No, man, I'm good. Why? Because I can see him on demand. I've done it, right? And I know that I'm in an environment, and I'm not being judgmental. I'm just telling the truth. I'm in an environment where there's alcohol, where there's drug use, misuse, and abuse. I don't want to be. You don't want to meet that guy. You don't want to meet that guy So I choose not to be around that environment. Why? Because if I fail you, what hope is there? Somebody has to model how to be correct. Somebody has to model who God is. Somebody has to model what integrity is, right? Doesn't matter your past. Doesn't matter what you've done, where you've been, and how you did it. You know all you have? Now. That's all you have is now. www.bettercalldarrell.com. Telephone number to reach me is area code 469-289-8077. 469-289-8077 or 469-557-2127. 469-557-2127. If you look around in front of you, you'll see the St. Louis Cardinals hat, you'll see Texas A&M, you'll see Lincoln Tigers of East St. Louis, Illinois, you'll see the VFW, you'll see the great state of Texas with the Longhorn, you see the school there too, you'll see the Military Veteran Peer Network. You know, you see these things here, right, because I'm associated with all of them. I am a big time, and I know some of you Texas Rangers fans not want to hear this. It might be a revolt. It's not my business. But in 2011, two things could have happened. If Nelly Cruz catches the fly ball, game's over with. If they play no doubles, game's over with. So don't hate because the 2011 St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series. Just don't hate, right? Y'all may have had the better team. Albert Pujols has something to say about that. Man, don't let me go into history. I'm also a Los Angeles Lakers fan, so one day you're going to see that on the DS2, okay? You're going to see it on the dais up here. You're going to also see, if you look real close, there's a star in the middle. The Dallas Cowboys, all right? If you're hating, that's your business. It's not mine. So, the Los Angeles Lakers, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Dallas Cowboys, the St. Louis Blues. I do root for the Stars, and I do root for the Mavericks. But when the Mavericks and the Lakers are playing, guess who I'm rooting for? Okay, so if there's any other team that I really did like growing up, because I grew up in East St. Louis, and across the bridge of St. Louis was the St. Louis Cardinals. They're called the Arizona Cardinals today. They went from Phoenix to Arizona. That's where they are now. So they went from St. Louis to Phoenix to Arizona. All right. I'm just throwing little historical tidbits at you. All right. So, question. What are you prepared to do? Are you prepared to sit and do nothing? Are you prepared to sit and ponder what I'm saying? Or are you prepared to take action? I would challenge you to take action. Because while you are taking action, greater things can occur for you. The man, the woman, the child, the person that doesn't take action, they fail. The scriptures say that there's a way that seems right to a man. I include man, woman, child. It ends in death. And there's another translation that says there's a way that seems right to a man that ends in death and destruction. That means you die and then you destroy. It means you never have an opportunity for eternal life. Same thing with your career. It dies and it never comes back because it's destroyed. Here's the thing about DOT that many of you don't know. They don't care. You fail a drug and alcohol screening, you're either going to rectify it or it's going to sit where it's going. It's never going anywhere. There's no appeals process. You know who the appeals process is? The substance abuse professional. Because the substance abuse professional is the gateway to public safety. As the gateway to public safety, that means that you have to deal with me directly and I have to deal with you directly. And the only way that you can do that is by giving me a telephone call or showing up at my office. 5566 Main Street, Suite 207, Frisco, Texas, 75028. 5566 Main Street, Suite 207, Frisco, Texas, 75028. That's where Better Call Darrell is. And if you just call me, 469-289-8077 or 469-557-2127, I'll speak to you too. You know the great thing about Better Call Darrell? It's just me. It's just me, right? There's no receptionist to talk to. There's no another associate to talk to. It's just me. And you get the very best of me. As I said at the outset, while everybody else was passing gas and digging boogers at night, I was up studying. I was up studying the intricate details of what is supposed to happen in addictions, in alcohol, drug, in chemical dependency, in substance abuse, misuse, and use. If you're watching me right now and you blazed up, put it down. If you're watching me right now and you got the bottle tilted up, or the cup tilted up, or the glass tilted up, or the bottle with the paper bag around, brown paper bag around, put it down. Put it away. Throw it away. Pour it out. You don't need it. You know, your liver is on the right side of your body. It's the shape of a football. It's the only non-complaining organ in the body. And once it starts complaining, it's too late, because you either got to have a transplant or you have to be in a position that you diagnose that it can regenerate on itself. Yes, it can regenerate on itself. I'll give you an example. In Greek mythology, there's a story of the Titan Prometheus. Prometheus was chained to a crag in a mountain because he had given man fire. And every day, an eagle would come by and tear out the renewed liver of Prometheus. And it would renew. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, until Heracles, you know him as Hercules, came by and unchained him and sent him on his way. Much to the chagrin of Zeus. So, most of us don't have that type of money for a renewed liver, unless it's allowed to renew on its own. But you know that through drug use, abuse, and misuse, and alcohol use, abuse, and misuse, that the liver can turn this color. And once it's this color, it's a wrap. You're going to die unless there's a transplant, right? But let's not be morbid here. Let's just tell the truth. And that's what I'm doing. There's morbidity in the truth, right? Necrotic tissue. Necrotic means it's going to die. The tissue's dead or it's going to die. We don't want that happening in you, right? And you know, for the people who, you know, knock down the long necks and they chain smoke, that's bad too. You know the toughest thing to do in the addictions process is stop smoking, because it affects the neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, and the reuptakes. It affects all of that, right? So what do you get from a Department of Transportation substance abuse professional? What do you get from Better Call Darrell? What do you get from me? You get counsel. And the difference between counsel and advice is suspect, counsel is proven. I can go tell you to go hit that dude in the head down the street who's singing too loud because you think he out of tune. But the counsel is close your windows, close your door, you don't have to hear him. I can tell you to stop eating pork, which most of you probably won't because you said, well, God made it. If you heard what Malcolm X said about pork, you wouldn't eat it either. If you went to a food processing place and saw how stuff was processed, you wouldn't eat any of that. I'm guilty of it too in the past. But I still might want to give me an In-N-Out later on. I don't know, but what I'm saying to you is this. How you treat your body, what goes on the inside, it'll come on the outside, and it won't look the same. You know, you ever been in the bathroom after you've done your business? You know, you've had your day, your night, whatever. And so, you know, the body needs to have what was placed inside. It needs to disembark. It needs to go somewhere, right? So we make these Texas-sized donations to the sewage system. And what was so delicious and so tasty and so it smells so good, smells so horrible coming out. It's probably not good for you. You ever had a granola bar? Doesn't smell like any of the other stuff. It just doesn't. It doesn't. It's the same thing with alcohol and drugs. Remember, alcohol is a drug. Is that stuff's poison? It's toxic. Well, Chaplain, what about wine? Man, look. I've seen some wine that was so cheap the label peeled off of it, so you know you don't need any of that. That's the epitome of rot good, right? So why touch any of it at all? As an addictions counselor, I can't. Because, again, you don't want to meet that guy. But number two, if I'm drinking, and I'm not even talking about for medicinal purposes, if I'm drinking, right, my tolerance is I got to drink more. It's like Haagen-Dazs. I don't do Briars and Dryers and Blue Bear. It's Haagen-Dazs. Sara Lee. Right? So when you have Haagen-Dazs, man, look, when you have Haagen-Dazs, vanilla bean, not just vanilla, vanilla bean with Sara Lee pound cake with strawberries. And you don't put it in the microwave, you let it thaw out naturally, right? For like 4 hours, just thaws out. Because sometimes it's real hard, right? And you slice it and you put just a dollop, you the big spoon in, you put a dollop, man, you just let it melt for like, 2 minutes. It's kind of creamy and you dig in. But see, for me, I need the whole cake. And I need the whole pint or the quart of Haagen-Dazs. That's addiction. And I know I don't need that. But that's my story that I'm sharing with you. But I also know that any of us who've already partook in alcohol and drugs, we don't need it either, right? It's a way to wean ourselves off of things that we don't need them anymore. See, guess what? That poison needs us. We don't need it. I dated a young lady once who will remain nameless. Beautiful as all get out, man. But she chain smoked. And I told her once, I said, I can't do this with you. And she got indignant. What? So I said, I just can't. So how she truly felt about what I said in me started to come out, right? And I had to stop her and say, listen, I'm not going to continue to be all those colorful metaphors coming out of your mouth. I said, either, you choose those things or me. She chose those things over me. So guess what? Good night now. Translation, if you want to continue to do the things that you know that are mistreating your body and placing you at risk, continue. Or allow your quality of life to zoom upward, to trend upward. Never be a liability. Be an asset. Be a commodity. And guess what? There are companies who want you to return to duty or will allow you to return to duty. But you have to want it more than them. You know why? Because in the return to duty process, it's mandatory. It's not my process. It's Department of Transportation's process. Once again, I'm Darrell Hartley. You can reach me at www.bettercalldarrell.com. Telephone 469-289-8077, 469-289-8077, or 469-557-2127, 469-557-2127. It was fascinatingly wonderful to speak with you today. And until next Thursday at 3 o'clock. Peace.